Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Khalil Ekulona, and this is Nashville. Willie James Sims Jr., a.k.a. Big Fella, is an ambassador for all things righteous and an ambassador for Nashville. He's done a lot in his professional life, holding titles such as musician, entertainer, TV producer, event planner, community activist, host, ordained minister. He's a board member at Thistle Farms, commissioner at the Metro Film Music and Entertainment Commission, ex-official at NECAT, actor, comedian, chef, substitute teacher, advertising and marketer, videographer, editor, graphic artist, consultant, life coach, and also the unofficial mayor of Music City. If it's cool and happening in this region, there's a good chance he was a part of it, lent a helping hand, or knows the folks directly involved. He's a force of positivity and a connector of good spirits. So what is his life story? How did he come to Nashville? And what are his dreams for the future, both his and Nashville's? I'd like to welcome Willie, Big Fella Sims, back to This Is Nashville. Good to see you, man.
Wow, man. That was crazy. I just closed my eyes and listened like, oh, my God, that was wild, Khalil. That was wild.
You've done a lot of stuff in your life, man.
Man, it's ridiculous.
It's kind of crazy. All right, full transparency. Regular listeners know that Big Fella and I are close friends. I've said that many times on air. So listen, y'all, there may be some code switching happening in our conversation, but I feel like it could be a learning experience for many, right?
Yeah, man, it's pretty interesting, man. This is kind of cool, Khalil.
This is really cool.
Oh, man.
It's just wonderful. Wonderful to be able to do. All right, so tell me this. What's on your mind today? What was the big time philosophical thought you woke up with?
Man, I woke up and I was just like, keep going. Keep going. I was talking to myself. I was like, it's all going to work out. It's all coming together. I felt it like it's all coming together, man. Sometimes, the road it's a long, dusty road when you're slow grinding, man. Mm-hmm. When you don't take the easy way.
Yeah.
You take that hard way, make them lefts, make them choices, them decisions. Mm-hmm. You don't cut them corners. You're going to get there, but it take longer. And it's just a long, tough, musty, stinking road that you got to walk down, and all the people and places and all the stuff you got to kind of just, I don't want to say ignore, but kind of all the things you got to ignore, put to the side, disregard, all the understand how you always got to be extra understanding. Because I want to be understood, mm-hmm. And I be wanting grace from people because like you say, all things righteous, man. Listen, I done did some crazy things in my life, man. I'm a little crazy. I'm borderline nuts, too. So, yeah, man. So I just be trying to be understanding as much as possible, be understanding.
How hard is it to keep faith on this long, windy, arduous road?
Man, you know what? To be honest, I really don't. I said in the song a long time ago, like, man, I love my backup playing behind me just to make it more real to me. So I really don't have no option. Like, okay, say you give up, right?
Yeah.
I give up. What would that even mean? Like, for real. Like, it's just in your mind. You give up, and then what? You wake up, and I'm going to be doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. I'm stuck. So, I don't know. I really don't have an issue with faith. I have more of an issue with just the day-to-day of dealing with it, dealing with just the journey.
Mm-hmm. All right, now, you're born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. Mm-hmm. Your mama says the day you were born, the headline in the paper was, "Look out, world, here comes Willie."
Wow, so she got that headline.
Yeah, she still has it clipped out. And she says, they weren't talking about you in the paper specifically, but they were talking about you.
To her, they was talking about me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Tell me about growing up. What was your neighborhood like?
I grew up on the east side of Detroit, down the street from the city airport on St. Patrick, between Connor and Gunston. It was beautiful, man. It almost felt like like a scene from Boys in the Hood, but not like necessarily the the gangster part.
Yeah.
Even though there's gangster stuff going all around, because, Detroit in the 80s, but nah, just that imagery, you know what I'm saying? Just regular old neighborhood. It was crime and all that, but you just kids, You just growing up, learning, living.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. It was cool.
Who were the folks around you at that time as you were growing up?
Like I grew up with my mother and my sister. My sister's 9 years older than me, Matisa. She actually lives down here now. She's in Murfreesboro. She's a professor at MTSU, where I went.
Hey.
Which is nuts, completely nuts. My Uncle Bunny lived down the street, my great uncle, who's 99 this year. He's just an amazing character. I look back now and think about like how blessed I was to have him live down the street. I used to go over there after school. His wife, Jenny, my Aunt Jenny, older white lady, which I never even put two and two together. My mama said that's why I'm good with white people now. Aunt Jenny loved me.
Okay.
Yeah, she was like, yeah, Jenny, she loved you so much that it kind of broke down your defenses and barriers when it comes to older white ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that was my dog. I was a little kid. She loved me for real, for real. I used to watch Oprah, watch the stories.
Okay.
After school, yep. I know it's just, everybody kind of knew each other. It was the 80s.
Yeah.
Everybody knew each other. It was what it was. Our block, I think on our block, they say the interesting part was a lot of people on that block owned their house. So there was a lot of homeowners on the block. So it was just like a little ghetto oasis.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We're still during the times of it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all the way. And then that airport down the street, I remember it's an airport that goes into a cemetery. So, like, at the end of the runway is, I forgot what the cemetery called. It ain't Mount Olivet, something. But it's a big cemetery that take up probably, you could ride a whole mile up Connor, and the cemetery still be on the side on both sides. And I remember consciously, like, thinking about, like, man, you could take the plane. It's a choice. Like, you take the airplane or the cemetery, you know what I'm saying? I remember thinking that when I was little, like, you either get on the plane or you get in there.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
That's pretty deep.
I don't know. I always thought it. We used to ride past. The first time I heard this, da 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 da.
Yeah, I remember that song.
And I remember when riding past that cemetery with that song playing, just like da da da, singing it. That and you got to pray. Pray.
Oh, MC Hammer.
Yeah, I remember
We
that.
must pray today.
Yeah, and that Bobby McFerrin. Like, I don't know what it is about songs when we ride past the cemetery. I always like songs registered in my head on that trip from past the airport through the cemetery to the fruit market. Mm-hmm.
Now, I understand like the Boys and Girls Club was significant in your life. What was it about that experience that kind of helped shape who you are today?
Boys and Girls Club saved my life, man. Because I was in elementary school and I used to go there after school. Once I got to a certain age, you can go to the Boys and Girls Club. It was next to the school. And the people who ran it, Lolita, she was like the director, looking at it now, like one of the directors. And it was this old dude named Dick in the wood shop. I don't know. They empowered me, man. They trusted me. They believed in me. You know, they had me working in the canteen, which is like the little store.
Yeah.
You had to be like 15, 16 to work in there. But if somebody didn't show up, they would let me work in there.
Okay.
I was just good at counting money, and I was good at like thinking on my feet. And they just believed in me and gave me a lot of confidence to be me.
Did you take that experience and like develop that into business acumen and awareness from there?
I think so on some levels. I was always good with that, man. But I think in Detroit, it kind of come with it. Everybody always hustling. Like, you always got selling something, trying to figure it out, got a side hustle, making some money here or that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I did. I was good at it.
What was one of your first successful hustles?
Man, the trading cards, basketball cards. They had baseball cards. I had a few of them, but really it got real with the basketball cards. The one with the silver rim around it. Everybody who didn't collect the cards gonna know what I'm talking about. But at the club, they was selling packs of cards, and all the kids, we all kind of got into it. And you know, you get a pack of cards, 50 cents, 15 cards in a pack. Then I realized I was watching, I was like, okay, each pack, 50 cents is 36 packs in a box. Went to the card shop in East Point, Michigan. My mama took me, and I opened up all of them, and I got all the cards I needed to complete my set. I was cool. I had a bunch of extra cards, and I was like, you know what? Let me repackage these. So I got some wax paper and some tape, and I would repackage the 15 cards in a pack. But the cool part with the wax paper, you could put kind of a good card on the top, a decent card on the bottom. People gonna buy based on what they see, you know? I already took the real good cards, you know what I'm saying? And I would still put a couple of the good cards if I had a bunch of them, because once you get into buying boxes, it's a whole nother game. You're not looking for the same thing. But like the good cards, I realized like once you get into that game where you got all of them, now what really matters to the person that has it all, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then I was playing a different game, and I was able to branch out into getting different kind of cards, different sports, hockey cards.
So eventually your mom moved you.
Man, somebody broke in the house one time, man, and it was just I think the straw that broke the camel back, and she was like, "We getting up out of here." And it was like, "Okay, yo, home's off to Bel Air." You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was like the 6th grade. I think it was summer 6th grade. And then one day, I was walking home from school. Some older kids got off the school bus. They were shooting at each other, but it was kind of like in the alley. They wasn't shooting our direction. They were shooting at each other like this. So it was all kind of parallel to them. And right after all of that, it was like a storm of events that happened. Yeah, she was like, "Nah, we out of here." So we moved out to Rochester Hills for 7th grade. And Rochester Hills is kind of like the equivalent to, I want to say Franklin maybe, but
I spoke to your mother, Marsha Cohen. She told me this story about a run-in you had with police not long after you all moved to that neighborhood.
Oh, that was East Point. That was high school. That was when we moved back.
Okay.
Yeah, that was when we moved back closer.
Let's hear her talk about
that's crazy.
what happened to you then.
He's walking the neighborhood, right? And they're not used to seeing black kids, black boys walking in the neighborhood. So neighbors would call and inquire or report or whatever to the police. So he ended up being stopped once. I'm like, okay, he let me know, right? Then he was stopped again. Then there was an incident at the school where something happened in the area, and they were looking for someone, and they stopped and spoke to him and questioned him because he looked like the suspect. Okay, that was enough. So, I mean, you can imagine. I said, okay, come on. I took Will. We went to the police station. Okay, there's only one in this little town. East Detroit was only a 2-mile radius, so it's not a big city. I took him up to the police station, and I introduced him and myself, and informed them that I am a homeowner in the city, and this is my son. He attends East Detroit High School. He plays football. He's going to be walking the area, and I do not want him to be bothered. They apologized, introduced us to the lieutenant and everyone, gave us a tour of the police station. From that point on, we didn't have any more problems with that because they knew who Willie was. Okay,
so what was going through your mind when that happened?
When they came up and questioned me?
When they questioned you, the entire process, them questioning you to your mother taking you into the police station, the precinct, to meet the officers, and then they give you a tour of the facility.
On the way up there, I didn't know what. I was like, oh, man, they done mess with Marsha Cohen. She going in. Like, she don't play no games. So I'm like, all right. She's like, we ain't having this. No way. Come on, get in the car. We went up to a police station, went in, and she was like, look, she said it all nice, but she was not that nice when we went in there. She was cool, but she was just kind of like, look, this ain't about to happen. I was just there. I don't know. But then when they showed us around and everybody was super cool and they apologized, and I never, ever had another issue in East Point again, period. It was all good. It was all good. That was like pretty cool.
So, I mean, I'm curious, like, how that shaped your relationship with the police, because many of us as young black boys, we're taught to be wary of the police. Yeah. And it can create fear, animosity, but you, like me, had a different experience. What did that do for you as you grew older?
I really don't know. I ended up looking at like, okay, like when the police moving around, I feel like it's they in a certain vibration. They looking for a certain vibration. If you don't vibe inside what they're looking for, it don't connect. They're not looking for that. They're looking for a certain vibe. And what happens is they create it. Like if the police get behind you, they create that tension like, oh, man, police behind me. I think it helped me bypass that earlier. I don't know. I realized they was people. That showed me like they was people too. It wasn't just the police. They was people. All the people I met when I went in there, it's like, okay, when I seen them before, it was just the police in the police car. After I went in there and we talked, I was like, these is people. They got jobs. Okay. It humanized the police for me. and maybe a humanized black kid for them.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't really no black people in East Point at that time.
Okay.
It's damn near all black now.
All right, we're going to take one quick break. When we come back, we'll learn how Willie Big Fella Sims got used to being in college, then came to Nashville in Middle Tennessee, where he landed at Middle Tennessee State University. Stay with us. This is Nashville.
Funding for This is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Khalil Ekulona, and this is Nashville. My guest is Willie Sims Jr., more commonly known as Big Fella. He's a man about town who can be found doing everything, from hosting events to inspiring young people and working with local officials on how to make Nashville and Middle Tennessee a better place for all of us. Big Fella, thanks so much for being here, man.
Man, thank you, Khalil, man. This is wild, man.
This is wonderful. I'm having a great time.
Wow.
You went to college at Central Michigan University.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like when you first arrived on campus?
It was super cool, man. I was like, oh, man, I'm at college. I went to the #1 party school in Michigan. That was my whole point, you know what I'm saying?
You chose it because it was the #1 party school.
For sure. I was at home after I graduated. My mama kept leaving out pamphlets for jobs, and it just was a bit much. And she's real intense when it comes like, okay, go do this, go do that, go do that. And I'm like, oh. And she was like, look, you got to either go to college, go to the military, or get a job, flat out. Like, that's what it's going to be. And that was the easiest decision ever. That boosted up my, okay, I'm going to college. Because I'm going to go to #1. That was my criteria. Like, what's the #1 party school? So I went there, and it was super cool. I was in the co-ed dorm. It's on.
So you had a good time.
It was great.
Up until one moment.
Oh, man.
A highly charged incident happened to you and some other black male students while you were there. It happened at a Rally's fast food restaurant. Summarize that story
real
briefly.
Quick.
Yeah.
I've never talked about this, and this is like as public as it get. I don't even talk about this to people in general. It's really interesting. Okay, me and my friends, it was cold. It was February in the middle of Michigan, Mount Pleasant. We're going to go to the store. We're going to go to Rally's, and we're going to go back to Vader's apartment. They said, okay, look, we're going to go to the store and get the stuff. You go to Rally's, get the food directly across the streets. I go to Rally's. I'm out there waiting. Nobody never come. I see the people in there. There's one car in the drive-thru. By the time, I think I might have made the order by the time they came back over there, but they like, man, what's up? It's been 15, 20 minutes. I was like, man, I don't know. Dude come to the window. He had an attitude. Then he threw the food out the window at me. Once we looked in the bag, the order was wrong. Go back, like, look, man, just give us our money back or fix the order. He didn't come to the window. When he did, he's like, I don't know why you niggas come here. And I was like, oh, clutch my pearls, like, what? I ain't never experienced this one.
Okay.
Yeah, it was wild. I was like, oh, man, I went to school with a bunch of white people, you know what I'm saying? And I done heard random, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And
so blatant.
Yeah.
And directed
like
towards
that.
you.
Yeah, he meant that. That was like, it was different. I never experienced that. Mm-hmm. And he ain't learned that off TV. That was in his heart, you know what I'm saying? That was in his soul. When I come back to the window, something knocked on the window, he slid the window open, and he pushed the tea machine out on me. He's like, get out of here, such and such. We go to leave. I think that's when we realized it was messed up. We like, man, we just get our money back. We go back. It was like a young dude that was coming to work, and we talked to him. He's like, okay, I got you. He went inside, never came out. Next thing you know, all these police pulled up. It was like a campus police, a Mount Pleasant police, which is the city it was in, state police, tribal police, because on a tribe, it was on a reservation, basically. And there was one more police. The county police. They all pulled up. Told the police officer what happened. It was a female police officer. I think she might have been a state police officer. She was cool. And she was like, okay. So she go in. We thinking she gonna get us our money back or something. She come out like, y'all need to get off the property. I'm like, dang, okay then. She's like, yeah, get off the property now. So we start walking across a long parking lot to go back to the apartment. And as we walking, we talking like, man, what just happened? That was wild. And then this car with these T-tops starts circling around. There's like four dudes in the car. white dudes. Most of them had bald heads. One of them had a little bat. He was kind of leaning up out the top of the T-tops. It's like that dude that said, I don't know why you niggas come here. He called them. Them was his people.
Yeah.
Them was his, that was his squad, for sure.
And they were trying to intimidate y'all.
They definitely was trying to intimidate us, riding around, like hitting the bat, just looking. We thought they was going to do something. And my man Vader was just like, man, let me get back. We got to get back to the crib. We might need some protection in case it go down. And nothing happened, so I leave, go back to my dorm, call my mama. She like, okay, just chill out, go to sleep, figure itself out, because I was kind of distraught. I just kind of let it go. We talked about it a bunch of times, and then one day, my man Vader come in with a suit on. We in the cafeteria. He come in with a suit on. He was like, hey, y'all come with me. I guess he had went to the African American Student Coalition or Union or whatever and talked to them about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we go with him up to the rallies, and they having a rally at the rallies.
Wow.
Man, it was a rally at the rallies. It was a bunch of people out there with picket signs. It was like white students, black students. It was news people out there with the sign. I'm like, what is going on? And I got caught up in the moment. I was out there like, we need, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be doing this to me, such and such. So I got the newspaper article, man. It's pretty interesting. That newspaper came out on my birthday. Yeah, it was just so wild, bro. And then the newspaper dude said, man, I talked to Mr. Sims and his story didn't go along with their story and this and that. Bro, I ain't talked to nobody, bro. My mama told me to just chill. And so after that, it got crazy. It got wild.
So after the rally at rallies.
After the rally at rallies.
How were you and the other students involved? How were you treated on campus?
Felt like we were not students no more. Everybody was looking at us and like, I don't know, we felt like kind of like little superstars, man. Everybody was looking at us when you walk down. People would be looking at us and pointing, and it's like pathways were open. It was really wild. It was just kind of like we was in a movie, man.
So all this is going on. You're 18, 19 years old.
Yes.
Going through all of this.
Yes.
What made you decide to leave Central Michigan?
When my man Freddie, one morning, I'm in my room, I'm asleep, but I hear my answering machine like beep. And he's like, hey man, Will, man, come get me, man. They got me down here at the police station, man. They got me. Like, Will, he's like, ah. And I get up, I replay it. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, man, they say I stole some books, man. Man, leave me alone. I'm like, what? It was like a movie.
Wow.
So I had my homies, they came through, we all listened to it. Like, man, we gotta go get Fred, man. So we go down there, we get a ride down there, we pull up, go in the police station. I'm like, we here to see Freddie Luster. It was a lady working, and she looked through the things. She was like, we don't have no Freddie Luster. I'm like, you got a Freddie Luster. I heard the messages, you know what I'm saying? Then this other dude came out. He must have been the chief or something. He had on like this Miami Dolphin color suit, and he looked, he was like, no, we don't have no Freddie Luster. We don't have a Freddie Luster. I'm like, bro, y'all got a Freddie Luster. We want to see Fred, man. It's something, where's Freddie Luster? And like, we don't have no Freddie Luster. So we go out to get in the car, which is parked in the parking lot behind the police station. And that same dude duck his head out the back door. He's like, you want to see Freddie Luster? We looked at each other like, he's like, $100. Like,
wow.
What? It's like $100. We looked at each other, and he slammed the door. And we got in the car, went back to campus. We ended up like the deans and presidents of school. Somebody had to go get him. They got him. And I mean, it was like a movie.
Sounds eerily similar to the scene in the Malcolm X biographical film that Spike Lee had, where they went down there looking for, I think it was a Brother Baines or a Brother Johnson. Remember that scene? Yeah. It was kind of just like that. They're like, they didn't say, hey, $100 to see him. And so, okay, so the deans come get him out. You realize that the temperature is hot there, and particularly you and the other male students who were involved essentially had a bullseye target on your back.
Man, we got jumped by the rugby team. And my roommates was all rugby players. We went to a rugby party. Number one party school, so the parties was stupid, like Project X, you know what I'm saying? Like the lawn is packed, the house is packed. It's party, like real party. And we went to the party to chill because all my roommates like, man, dude, come to the party, man. You got to come. So we go. I go to the bathroom. One of the girls that live on my floor, she busts up in there. She drunk. She gonna bust up in the bathroom. Use the bathroom. Like, what is you doing? She start peeing in the tub. She sit down and she just laughing, and we just laugh. I'm like, you so crazy. She's super cool. Like, you so crazy. And I guess some of the rugby players seen her go in the bathroom, and they busted in, and it was a squabble, and we had to squabble our way up out of that thing. It was wild. It was like a for real movie. And we fight our way out of such and such. We get down to the front porch, and we kind of fall off the porch, and we out there. And my man Dewan, who was with me, he's part of the whole squad the whole time. We realized his cousin was still in there. We go to try to like fight our way back into the party, and he falls out, kind of rolls from off top of people and hit the ground. And when he pop up, his shirt is all ripped up and he got bite marks all over his body.
Wow.
The back, arms, front, a bunch of them. It looked like it was weird, man. I don't even know how it was even possible. And he's like, he's like, man, they bit me, man, they bit me. After that, it was kind of like, okay.
Gotta go.
Yeah, and my lawyer ended up being like one of the lawyers for the Rainbow Push Coalition in Lansing. And he was like, man, you need to go to school in the South. And the whole time I was talking to my father, who lived here. He had just moved here from Atlanta with my little brother and my uncle. And I'm talking to him like, man, it's crazy. He's like, man, what crazy mean? I'm like, couldn't explain it. He's like, man, you need to just come down here. Come to Nashville. Come on home. Come with us.
So you go down south to Nashville, and you end up at Middle Tennessee State University.
Yep. Came to look at TSU, Alabama A&M, and TSU was on my list. I was working a party at the Bellmead Plantation. Oh, this is so deep. Working a party in the dining room at the Bellmead Plantation. I'm out there talking to this old dude, and that's when I found out about MTSU, because it was this older dude. He's like, man, your daddy said, man, you want to do communications. He's like, MTSU got a good communications program. I'm like, what's MTSU? He's like, Middle Tennessee State. I'm like, I'm not Tennessee State. He's like, not Middle. I was like, okay. And right after that, this older dude came up. Oh, man, it's so weird to be telling this, man. This older dude came up. He was like, all right, come on, we got to go. He's like, man, you got your house coat? I was like, what? Like, I ain't got no house coat, man. What you talking to, man? What are you talking about, man? I ain't got no house coat, man. You better go. He's like, you got it? I'm like, bruh, man, leave me alone, man. I'm sorry, sir, no. And then he kind of looked and he pointed over.
What was he pointing at?
My coat.
Oh, the coat you had to wear at the plantation.
The coat I've been wearing.
Oh, wow.
Man, it blew my mind. Blew my whole mind right in that moment. It took me a minute to even function again. And like, I was there working. Because, I mean, wait service, man, it's great. It's good, consistent money. It did something to me. I was like, what is going on?
What did it do to you?
It put everything into perspective. Where I was at, I'm like, oh, I'm at the Bellmead Plantation. I never even put two and two together. I never even thought about it. It's just a job we just waiting. You know what I'm saying? It's at the Bellmead Plantation, whatever. When he said that, it all in my mind, where I'm at, what's going on. I'm from Detroit, man. I ain't used to this. I ain't know what they was talking about. I'm like, this ain't going with the wind, cuz. You know what I'm saying? But I was in it. And then it put it all in perspective, like where I'm at, what's happening, what this is. Like, oh, my God. Even where we was doing stuff, it was like the stables, like the old slave quarters and with the stable hands. And I was like, get the out of here. This is a real thing.
It's a real thing. All right, we're going to find out more about that real thing, your transition from Detroit to Nashville and MTSU after this message. When we come back, we'll learn more about how Willie Big Fella Sims adjusted to new life down here in Middle Tennessee and how he and his friends years later started the annual fireworks display for the Juneteenth celebration at Fort Negley. Stay with us. This is Nashville. I'm Khalil Ekulona, and this is Nashville. My guest is Willie Big Fella Sims. Over the course of the hour, we've learned about his childhood in Detroit and an incident during his freshman year of college that changed the course of his life. It brought him here to Middle Tennessee while he was attending MTSU. Now, Big Fella, thank you for being here, sir. I do want to ask you something about this. I mean, everything you experienced at Central Michigan, I'm sure that gave you a different perspective on life, 19 years old. What was your attitude towards college when you started up at MTSU?
I felt like I could do anything. Once I seen how it worked at Central Michigan, like when we had like deans, and I don't know what that dude was who used to come. Was he a president, a dean? He was somebody important, but he would come to my room. We was listening to the Equipment album, when it came out, we would go smoke our CBD. Whenever a new album came out, we would smoke our CBD. Mm-hmm. We would go get the album, put it on, and listen to it all the way through. That's what we did when it all came out.
In the good old days.
Good old days. And dude was in there with us on my couch. He was somebody important at school, but he was just sitting there with us like, just make sure y'all all right, man. Like, everything cool? Just check on. And it changed the way I looked at it. It was like, you're a student, but there's a whole ecosystem here. Mm-hmm. And you could do whatever you want to do, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's going to stop you.
Well, so what did you do?
Man, I did whatever was on my heart to do, my man. I was always making music. I used to walk around campus. I can't believe this is real. I just can't believe, just looking back, it makes no sense, man. Like, I just walk around on the road, drinking E&J and orange juice. What is going on?
In class, just on campus.
On campus, just on campus, not in class, not on campus, not in class. But yeah, I had the robe. I guess I was in class too, but on campus, man. Started the cooking show. I was just free. I felt free, like I could do whatever I wanted to do. I made my own cookbook. Whatever the spirit told me to do, I did it. We had forums and discussions, and my wife, she was like, I couldn't stand you.
Huh.
Yeah, she couldn't stand me because, at these forums and stuff, we had conversations, and I was pretty free in my mind to say whatever I wanted to say about how I felt. And I guess a lot of people told me they never heard nobody say none of this stuff or do none of these things. But I was already past the fear of somebody I'm going to get in trouble. And it's like, no, you're not going to get in no trouble. If these people can chase us home and the rugby team get jumped by a rugby team and it's all, you could do anything. You know what I'm saying? It's limits to it. And then there's always higher ups that's going to have your back. And when I got there, I had already talked to him about the situation, and it was like, yeah, you come here.
Real quick, though, your wife couldn't stand you. How'd you win her over?
I just knew it was, I don't know, it was like God spoke to me, like I was supposed to be with her. I knew I told her, I was like, something just told me that we're going to get married. It's so interesting.
Uh-huh.
I knew it. And I don't know, man. I think just we end up being real good friends. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We just end up being super duper homies, and then life happened and we end up together, but that was my dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you started a cooking show, Cooking with Big Fella.
The Hustlin' Gourmet.
The Hustlin' Gourmet. How did that come together?
I was in my dorm room with my roommate, Mike D, who is now a U.S. diplomat, which is dope. I was in there cooking something, and I made some chicken and I think it was green beans and something. It was so good to me. And I was like, I had the Frankie Beverly playing. I had the incense going, windows up. It was like a magical moment, bruh. And when I was done, he was eating. He's like, I was like, bruh, actually, I need a cooking show. And then my man, Duck, somebody was like, man, you can't have no cooking show. You got to be like a chef to get a cooking show. I was like, but why not? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And somebody told me about the campus TV station. I went to the campus station to a meeting, and they was like, look, you want to do a show? Write a one sheet up about it. They had people who wanted to be camera people who wanted to be producers, and it was like they put us all together. So they hooked us up, and we shot the first Cooking with Big Fella, Hustlin' Gourmet in my apartment, and it's on YouTube. Look, Cooking with Big Fella, Hustlin' Gourmet. All the first ones up there, too.
You know, one of the great things I like about the show is that it's accessible. Like, you're making a cooking show for folks who are on a budget, really, and there's no fancy, expensive ingredients are needed, just kind of some heart and a love of food.
Yeah, my show was inspirational, not aspirational. It wasn't trying to get you to be like nothing. It was just inspiring you to do what you do. Use what you got to make what you want, but this basically is like the template. And you could do you. It was regular stuff. It wasn't trying to be, oh, look at me, I'm going to sprinkle the pepper like the Salt Bay. Nah, man, we just in this thing. And I was making the food that we was going to eat. It wasn't like I was making something and then we eat it late or don't eat it. And nah, that was dinner. We just going to shoot dinner. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, so it had a very authentic thing to it because it was literally real.
How was it received by the public?
Great. It was like a cult classic, man. I seen a dude at a gas station on the east side. He's like, hey, man, what's up, Big Cookie, man? Where you at, man? We need you, man. Where the cooking show at, man? I know he ain't seen that show in years.
Yeah.
But it's in people's hearts. That's real.
Authentic, something that touched
real.
them. Like, this adventure led to an important connection you made at the New Music Conference, where it eventually led to you meeting pretty powerful people in the music industry.
For sure.
Briefly tell me that story.
It was a guy who was an agent for APA. Shout out to my man Frank Wing. I give him a VHS tape of one of my first shows. And I'm like, hey, man, I got this cooking show. Maybe a couple weeks later, I get a call, and he's like, hey, man, like, I looked at your tape. He was like, man, the quality is terrible, man. He was like, this is terrible, but it's something about it, man. He was like, look, get a better version of this. Get your quality up a little bit and give me another one so I could see it. And I did that. It took about a year or two to get a better version. And I ended up getting it to him, and he was like, okay, so he was my agent. I was with APA, Frank Wing, my man. And there was a bunch of calls coming in. He said he was fielding a bunch of calls, people was interested in this and that. But he was like, man, you need a manager. He's like, I'm an agent. He's like, I can get it in, but you need somebody to help you process this. And he introduced me to like 3 people. He's like, look, I don't know whoever you vibe with, you know? I remember one of them was a lady from Heart, the band Heart. She was a manager.
Okay.
Yep, and she was super cool. I liked her a lot. She was super cool. And I think she liked me. Like, we was cool. And then I went to go meet this one dude named Ken Levitan. And, man, it was this Queen Latifah album. The Dana Owens album, and she made those jazz standards after she did Chicago. And I remember sitting at home, because I was like all deep into the marketing and this, and I seen one of them infomercials that was like, the Dana Owens album from the hit show Chicago. You can buy it, 1-800-772, buy it right now. And I thought that was just one of the most genius things I ever seen, because it was like watching hip-hop grow up, because she had this new fan base from Chicago. But they don't want to hear Queen Latifah rapping album. They don't want UNITY. But it was tapping into that. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we got this new fan base. She just did Chicago. Give them some jazz standards. And I went to meet him. We talking. And I look over and I see that album up on the thing. I was like, man, that right there. And I tell him my story. I was like, that right there. Whoever did that, that was genius, man. He's like, I did that. I was like, you the man. So I end up with Ken Levitan. And, man.
So you knew it was a good connection for
Man,
you.
he's the greatest. He's the greatest. I understand why he got so much success and why he the man in this city. He is a quality human being, bro, and genuine. And from there, we went to some meetings in New York. It was crazy. All the meetings went extra good. We with Shakim and them about doing a movie with Queen Latifah and all them. Like, who you want to write it or direct it? I'm like, DJ Pooh, who did Friday.
Yeah.
And Running from a 9 to 5 was the movie, you know what I'm saying? Running from a 9 to 5, because that's what I've been doing the whole time. In real life, that's what I was doing. Like, I was selling chicken out my dorm room. I was selling fake Coach purchase out my trunk. Okay. I was selling platinum FUBU, everything. I brought the Detroit Hustle to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I was running from a 9 to 5, baby, and, in real life.
All that running led you to meet legendary music executive Jimmy Iovine.
Yep. They can't call me one day. It's like, man, Jimmy Iovine want to meet you. I'm like, okay. So we go out there. We're supposed to meet for a quick meeting and end up being out there for a whole weekend. And Jimmy was just like, man, he loved the show. He loved the show. His whole thing was like, man, corn. I had a line on the cooking show. It was like, man, you just make some corn, because corn go with everything. And he used to always say that, like, big fella, corn goes with everything. You know what I'm saying? And met him, and he's just like, man, I want to be in the big fella business. And I was like, bet. He was like, yeah, you put up I put up the money, we split everything and run it. And we did that. He was kind of out of the music stuff, and I ended up having to deal with label people. And I thought once you go to the big machine, they push a button, and then you all over the world, triple platinum banging in Japan. But it wasn't like that. He was with it, but all the people I had to deal with all the time, they was just like, man, I don't know about this. And it's like,
yeah.
His
subordinates weren't as on board as he was.
Nah, they was cool because it was his project, but it was like, I wasn't nobody's project. And they all got projects they trying to push and get through.
Yeah.
Who is this fat cooking chef that do music and stuff? You know what I'm saying? They didn't get it. They was very nice to me, but I was asking him, could I leave? And he was like, nah, man, don't leave. And then he let me, he's like, man, forget it, man. You want to go, man, do your thing. He gave me some money. And it was like, man, go make it happen, man. Go make it happen. Jimmy he was most solid, too. I've been blessed to be around dope people, man.
And you share those blessings because you're a person who is inspiring to others. Like, you connect folks with the people they should meet. You offer a word of support or sage advice to those who are in need. You kind of do this for strangers. One of the first times we were hanging out, we were downtown by the Gulch, I believe, and we were leaving one spot to go to the next. And a stranger, his kid, stopped you. Big fella, hey, do you remember me? And you guys were off to the side, and it was about a quick 5-minute conversation. And he was talking about how much you inspired him. You gave him some advice. And you come back to us and you say, man, I don't even remember having that conversation. I said, well, why don't you remember that? And you said, it's not for me to remember. It's for him to remember. Talk to me about that.
I don't know, man. I be hearing all type of crazy stories that I be like, it sounds so ridiculous. Like, no way. It was in the moment, man. I just was living in the moment. I never think about it and do nothing. I've never done nothing to be like, yeah, maybe you gonna know this. You gonna hook me up. No, I always wished it was somebody around like me when I was doing anything. Somebody I could just go to and it'd help. Let's lead me in the right direction. Or the whole time I've been trying to be what I wished I had when I was younger or growing up or learning music business or entertainment. It wasn't people around like that. So I always tried to be that. And I hear some interesting tales. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My man Kenny, he's like, man, you remember you came to my house, man, when I was, I think he was 14 or 15. But I knew he was dope. I could just feel it. And he was a hardworking kid. He's like, yeah, man, you came to my house and you bought me that All You Need to Know About Music book. And you talked to my mama and gave me the book. And he was like, I still got that book. And he got Grammys, platinum plaques. Mm-hmm. And it's cool to see it, you know what I'm saying? But I knew he had it. And I never thought about, like, I'm going to get something out of this. And one day, it was just I was supposed to help that little kid out, you know what I'm saying?
Is there something you can see in people when you talk to them or just around them?
I don't know. I can feel it. Like, you know, you got A&Rs of music.
Yeah.
My claim to fame, I feel like God made me an A&R of souls and spirits. Like, I could feel amazing human beings. I could just feel their spirit. I know it when it's like, you got the thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what it is, but I could just feel it. And I'm supposed to help that person on their journey. My man Kamish told me, he's like, Quincy Jones told him, you don't create Michael Jackson. You don't create a James Brown. You don't create Otis Redding. You don't create Beyonce. They were who they were when they got here. You just feel blessed that you could recognize that person when you run into them. Mm-hmm. And he said all them old music business people, that's what they did. They seen that and they kind of helped and nurtured that into whatever it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel that. That make a lot of sense. That's real because you could try all you want to. You can go hard. You can be out here working, but Beyonce was born to be Beyonce. Taylor Swift was born for that. You can't try to be that. People were born for these positions and who they are. That was how it was written. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
Yeah.
Now, switching gears a little bit, on Wednesday, June 19th, you and others will be throwing, I believe it's the 6th annual celebration of the Juneteenth, complete with fireworks?
It is the 6th.
It's the 6th.
You're right.
All right. Thank
Fireworks since 21.
Fireworks since 21. How did that come together?
The Juneteenth thing altogether?
Yeah, and the fireworks and what you all do. Okay. Because it's a wonderful, wonderful event that so many people are going to.
So Juneteenth, it was 2017, we did the Tupac Festival. We did the Pac Fest, 7 days of thug passion. Sponsored by Alizé. We had Vibe Magazine. You know what I'm saying? It was so real. It was so real.
That's very real.
BMG, shout out to BMG. Slim and Husky is right when they was first opening, and we just planned on having a show. This started out as one show, just like a Tupac show. We're going to have live music, that live Tupac music, people rapping, and it turned into a 7-day festival with, you know what I'm saying, discussions, and we had pizza at every event. Shout out to Clinton. They came through every single event. It was ridiculous. It was an overkill. It was like, he was like, how you got pizza everywhere? We did a viewing of Tupac Resurrection movie at the Scientology Center.
Wow.
Yes, with pizza. It was weird. They was the only people that would let us use, like, we needed a spot. And somebody was like, call them, they'll let you use it. And they was super cool, but it was creepy. I ain't gonna lie. Because it was this statue of Elron in the corner, and during a part in the movie, the light came on, people left. It was a little weird. It was a little weird.
Some would say Scientologists are misunderstood, but I hear what you're coming from.
Yeah. I mean, they was super cool. I mess with the Scientology. One love Scientology, man. Shout out to them on 8th Avenue. Like, they didn't show nothing but love. They was nice, genuine, cool. They let us use the spot. It was cool. I ain't got nothing bad to say about Scientologists. 2018, when we did the Pac Fest, me and Walt was talking. It's like, man, it hit us like Juneteenth happened during that 7 days of Thug Passion. And it was like, man, Juneteenth. I was like, what's going on for Juneteenth? We looked around. We didn't see nothing going on for Juneteenth. It was like, we got to celebrate Juneteenth if it's a week of celebration.
Did you celebrate it before?
No, I never celebrated Juneteenth. I heard about it.
Yeah.
I think I heard more about it right around then than I ever had. And I was just like, I knew it was a Texas thing. I was like, but we got to celebrate that. You know what I'm saying? And so we had a Juneteenth event, which turned into about 8 Juneteenth events just because we was in PacFest mode. We going to do a week of celebration. It's going to be a week of Juneteenth. And Juneteenth kind of took over. And the first one we did at Fort Negley on the grounds, no stage, no nothing. We did it with the African American Cultural Alliance with Kwame because I was working with the African American Cultural Alliance on the African Street Festival. And I realized, like, the way they did stuff was old school and I couldn't really be effective. I was like, man, look, we're going to do this Juneteenth thing. Let's do it together. Y'all just make sure that we culturally correct. We keep the history right. We do all that part, and we going to do the festival part. We going to do it like we did the PacFest. We going to get busy on it and use technology and everything and do that part. And y'all the elders, y'all should be able to chill and relax and not do the heavy lifting. Let us do the heavy lifting, and y'all just do the keeping it real part. And Kwame was like, bet, let's do it. And we did it, and it was probably 100, 150 people out that first one. Next year, a couple more people. Then we ended up getting a stage, and then it's just grown. It's just grown. Well, you know, once 2020 happened. You know
yeah, 2020 exploded all over the country.
Oh, man, 2020.
Yeah.
And I had been out talking. I was at the mayor's office like, Nashville going to have the biggest Juneteenth celebration in the country, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And people was always kind of like, why and how? Like, why? That's a Texas thing. Why and how? And I was like, one, because we about to do it. And then two, because Nashville is a big event town. It's a big event town. We're going to do big events, and nobody parties like Nashville. Nobody celebrates. And if it's a big event town, we can't just do big white events. You know what I'm saying? Big country events. We should be doing big black events, big Mexican events. And I felt like if we celebrated Juneteenth in Nashville the way that Nashville celebrates whatever it's celebrating, it's going to be the biggest. It's just what we do. That was my thought process.
Yeah. So what can people expect this year for the festivities, and where can they go to find out more?
First and foremost, you can go to Juneteenth615.com, and it got a list of events, and it's a lot of Juneteenth events. It's not just ours, but we're going to talk about ours. But Wednesday, on the 19th, Fort Negley, it's going to be, you know, we do the libations and honor the people that was there beforehand, you know what I'm saying, that built Fort Negley and the stories that built them communities. We do it really to honor and celebrate them in a real way, you know what I'm saying? Like, we light them fires up and go boom, boom. We're going to wake their ass up, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need y'all. We need help. Come on. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Wake them up. Yeah, man, we got that My Black Country, Alice Randall's book. They doing a mural based on the cover of that book across the street. Vanderbilt's doing with Alicia, but she's doing that mural. We gonna also have a presentation of that on the stage with Carlos D. Ford Bailey III. He gonna do a song. Caroline Randall Williams, she gonna do a poem. We got Brassville gonna shut it down. We got the Nashville African American Wind Symphony that plays during the fireworks. Black Market, Nashville Black Market, got all the food trucks out there. Gotta say shout out to Amazon, the Visit Music City, the Conventions Bureau, the Titans. One love, you know what I'm saying? One love all the way.
All right, last question for you.
Yeah, man.
You know, some people call you the unofficial mayor of this city. And by some people, I mean me.
Oh, man, that's too much.
But no one ever refutes me when I say that. What makes you give so much to Nashville and this region?
Man, I ain't really know I really give that much to Nashville in this region, but I don't know. Nashville's a special place, man. It's the Athens of the South. Something's going to happen here that's going to resonate across the whole country. It's going to be stuff that go on here. Nashville was the seat of social change in real life. Like a lot of the stuff in the 60s, them students was here. You know, they went other places and did, like, they practiced and learned here and went out around the country and changed America right from here. You know, them kids that was at Fist, them Freedom Riders, Kwame and them. You know what I'm saying? James Lawson, R.I. to the Pizzle. You know what I'm saying? The OG gone to the other side. You know what I'm saying? Diane Nash, them people really changed everything, and it happened here. And I think that spirit is here. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the whole opposite of it. You got William Beresford Forrest and them. You got the past versus the future. You know what I'm saying? The boom town, life in the boom town. It's just interesting to me. You know, it's just real interesting. It's going on, and I like being part of. I like doing what people say you can't do. I like when people feel like you can't do something or tell you can't do something. I like to do it.
Willie Big Fella Sims is a native of Detroit, but is a Nashvilleian through and through. My brother, thank you so much for coming on and letting me share your business with everyone. I appreciate that.
Hey, man, this is, for the record, this is weird to me. So if you're out there listening to it and you're like, what is this? Why is he on there? It's weird to me, too. I feel you. I don't understand. I'm kind of confused, but Khalil said, I'm rolling with it. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, man. It's all right. You so good for the city. I appreciate you, man.
Oh, man.
It's good to have your voice in this city. I'm glad you came here. You could have went anywhere. Your ass came to Nashville.
I'm glad I came to.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good for all of us here.
Thanks, my man.
No, man. Thank you, man.
And thanks to you for tuning in this hour. This is Nashville is a production of Nashville Public Radio. Today's episode was produced and directed by yours truly. Our technical director and board operators, Liv Lombardi. The masterminds behind our theme music are Larange and Namir Blade. Special thanks to Marsha Cohen and Willie James Sims Sr. for making a remarkable human being. You can listen back at thisisnashville.org or wherever you get good podcasts. And the conversation doesn't end here. Tweet us at This Is Nashville. Find us on Instagram and tell us what you want from our show by filling out our quick survey online. You can also call and leave us a message at 615-760-2000. This is Nashville. I'm Khalil Ekulona. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. And be good to each other.